The Galactic Council assembly fell silent, the recording playing out in front of them on a smooth, uninterrupted loop. There on that footage was something no one had ever conceived possible. A human in front of a Cline Death Beast, one of the most dangerous animals in the known universe, scratching behind its horns as if it were some kind of pet. Eyes, sensory appendages, and other alien sensory organs of all manner of species pivoted toward the central screen, entranced by the sight. Counselor Veer of the Zorthian Collective, aside from his species' logical aloofness, stirred uncomfortably within his containment pod. "This is illogical to any known instinct for survival," he said, his voice modulated through the translation apparatus of the collective. "There is no more aggressive predator than the Cline Death Beast. Its spines are poisonous and will pierce the best armor. Yet here we see a human," added Zrax, a towering reptilian figure from the Drar Dominion, his scaled lips curling in disbelief, petting it as one would a common household animal. "Perhaps the footage is faked," suggested another council member, the bioluminescent Cayenne ambassador, her tendrils dimming in skepticism. "No, the footage is not faked," a matter-of-fact voice belonging to one Admiral Garv said, the human delegate with his face inches from a bemused grin. "I can personally attest to it. That human is one of ours, Captain Jack Harper, a decorated explorer." Gasps and murmurs of incredulity stirred within the council, as it could not be imagined that a race welcomed into their midst a little while ago would show such blatant disregard for caution. "You see," Garv continued, "humans have a special way with other species, with other life forms. We can sometimes forge bonds with others that are quite unimaginable." A hologram of Captain Harper flickered to life in the middle of the room. Standing confidently beside the towering Death Beast, his hand resting on its head, this fearsome creature now seemed almost docile. Garv started into his tale. It began when Harper's team touched down on Cathra Prime. Their mission was simple reconnaissance and possible alliance. The Cline are formidable warriors, and their Death Beasts are a reflection of their prowess. No sooner had we landed than Harper recorded this. The scene cut to the rugged red landscape of Cathra Prime. Harper's voiceover was on the footage. We were surrounded by these massive beasts. My crew was tense, with weapons ready. I had just this feeling in my gut. Approached one slow and deliberate, not to appear threatening. The tall creature watched as Harper approached him, curious yet menacing. I remembered something my granddad told me. Harper's voice continued. "Animals can sense your intentions. If you're calm, they'll be calm." So I reached out. The camera zoomed in on his trembling hand reaching out for the beast, making contact with the skin that was rough as bark. The creature stiffened, rattling threateningly, but Harper didn't back down. He began to gently stroke it, his hand moving in small, slow circles. The beast visibly relaxed, tucking its spines in and purring loudly, in a low rumble. "Incredible," Verk, a council member, whispered to himself the containment pod, glowing soft green at his consideration. "This runs counter to everything we understand about Cline Death Beasts," Zrak said. "Ferocity is their trademark. They should have torn him limb from limb. But they didn't," said Garv, his eyes sparkling with pride and mirth. "Humans can do this sort of thing. We call it the human touch." The room erupted in discussion and debate. The idea that one of the deadliest creatures in the galaxy could be pacified by merely the touch of a human was a radically bold, or ominous, concept. The implications for diplomacy and alliance building were enormous. "I so propose that we further research it," Veer said, his mind already racing with the benefits. "If humans do have this unique ability, it could be extremely valuable to our collective security." "Agreed." Zrax nodded. "We must understand this phenomenon. It may change the way we interact with hostile species." Garv leaned back, contented. He knew this was just the beginning. There were many more surprises that humans were yet to spring on the galaxy. And this encounter of Harper's was only the first chapter to a story that would rewrite the basics of interstellar relations forever. The words still echoed in his brain in the cadence of Harper's recorded voice. "Animals can sense your intentions." If only the rest of the galaxy could understand that simple truth, the future might be brighter than any of us could imagine. After the council meeting, Captain Harper and his crew were the galactic centerpieces of intrigue. Scientific inquiries into the interactions between humans and animals increased astronomically, and on Cathra Prime, Harper was decorated by the Cline themselves. Zor, a Cline warrior, growled, his voice like thunder off in the distance. "You have done what few others could. You tamed our fiercest beasts. For that, you are one of us now." In the Grand Cline ceremonial arena, Captain Jack Harper stood respectfully in front of Zor, this imposing figure of the Cline people. "We didn't set out to tame them, Zor. We just wanted to understand them," Harper said. Zor's huge form loomed over Harper, but there was no menace in his posture, just respect. To understand is to tame. Human, you have earned our respect, and with it, our alliance. The latter included an invitation to join the Great Hunt, one of the sacred traditions of Cline, a true test of strength and an exhibit of the bond between warriors and beasts. The morning of the hunt, the air was thick with the blaring of horns of Cline and rhythmic chanting. Harper felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as he put on the traditional Cline attire that Zor had provided for him. His crew of seasoned explorers and soldiers felt much the same. "Remember Jack," his second-in-command, Lieutenant Carter said with a grin, "just like petting a giant, deadly house cat." Harper laughed but replied in an almost stern tone, "Let's not forget, Carter, these house cats can shred starship hulls." The hunt was on, deep in the jungles of Cathra Prime. Harper was teamed up with a death beast named Gorth, and they moved with surprising ease through the underbrush. Now that it had become familiar with him, the beast responded to his commands with an intelligence both wonderful and terrifying. "Steady, Gorth," Harper whispered, his hand patting the creature's armored flank. The many eyes glimmered in acknowledgement as it crouched low, ready to pounce. Its prey, a gray herbivore, known as a Graph, thundered through the jungle, its 6 legs moving with surprising speed considering its bulk. Harper gave a hand signal to Gorth, and the beast launched with lethal grace. A series of fearful bellows resounded from the Graph as Gortha's claws raked into its flesh. Harper moved in quickly, Cline's spear jabbing for the final blow. The Graph dropped, shaking in death, froze. Zor strode near, nodding in approval to the kill. "You have done well, Harper. The bond between you and Gorth is strong. You honor our traditions." Harper stood then, wiping the sweat from his brow, smiling as he did so. "Thank you, Zor. It's been an incredible experience." As the hunt closed, with the Cline warriors celebrating their kills, Harper took a moment to reflect. The bond that he had come to develop with Gorth was way more than a means of survival. Instead, it became a testament to the capability of an understanding and cooperation between vastly different species. News of the successful hunt spread like wildfire throughout the Galactic Council, and footage of Harper and Gorth working in perfect harmony was broadcast across numerous star systems, further cementing the uniqueness and value of humanity in the interstellar community. Back at Galactic Council headquarters, a new committee was formed to research the ramifications of human-animal bonding. Scientists of various species collaborated in trying to comprehend the mechanisms that enabled humans to share with such dangerous creatures. A committee was assigned and handed over to the care of Dr. V, a highly recognized xenobiologist from the Urun Enclave. His curiosity about human behavior was palpable as he interviewed Harper and his crew. "Captain, your rapport with the Cline Death Beasts is second to none," Dr. V said. "We have noted Earth humans achieving parallel tendencies with Earth animals, but this is something else." Harper shrugged modestly. "It's just not something we can explain. It's instinct. We don't hurt the animals, and they don't hurt us. Trust," Dr. V mused, nodding thoughtfully. "An interesting concept. It seems to be a crucial element in these interactions." As research continued, the committee found that humans had a unique mix of empathy, intuition, and pheromonal signals that, together, predisposed them toward bonding well with other species. This attribute, largely overlooked in the greater scope of interstellar politics, suddenly held a great deal of value. The Galactic Council, in light of these findings, offered a new program, the Human-Animal Cooperation Program. It would utilize the unique capabilities of humans in establishing peace relations with some of the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Harper was created to be the first ambassador of this program. He was tasked with making voyages to various worlds where the struggle against the native fauna had already reached such a high point, and utilizing his expertise to devise ways of peaceful existence with those creatures. It was the first assignment that took him to Xeria, home to the notorious Xerian razor beast territorially violent creatures whose violent territorial behavior had rendered colonization efforts all but impossible. The desperate Xerian government welcomed Harper with open arms, but also with much skepticism. Setting foot on the soiled and corrupted earth of Xeria, Harper could feel the weight of his new responsibilities. Compared to the beasts he would be working with shortly, the merciless landscape of the planet paled. But he knew that if he could gain the confidence of the Cline Death Beasts, he could do the same for the Xerian razor beasts. Accompanied by a small team of Xerian scientists and a contingent of his crew, Harper ventured into the wilderness. The first few encounters with the razor beasts were tense, the creatures responding with predictable aggression, but Harper remained patient, observing their behavior and learning their patterns. One night, the squad had a camp near a razor beast's habitual coming place to get water, and Harper took to demonstrating his good skills. Harper relaxedly approached it and held out his hand so that the razor beast sniffed on his scent. It growled threateningly, but did not attack. The big razor beast had a number of rows of serrated spines down his back. "Easy, big guy," Harper murmured in his low, even voice. "I'm not here to hurt you." The razor beast's animal eyes fixed on Harper. For what seemed like the most excruciatingly long period of time, the whole world froze. The big Cline's ceremonial arena rumbled with a sea of nodding heads among its denizens as Captain Jack Harper confronted Zor. "We didn't come here to domesticate them, Zor. We merely wanted to learn from them," Harper replied, his voice firm but calm. Zor's giant frame towered above him, but his stance conveyed no menace, only a deep veneration. "To understand is to tame. Human, you've earned our esteem, and with it, our company." And so their new alliance welcomed Harper and his crew into the Great Hunt, a rite of passage of the Cline. The hunt was less a test of strength than a display of the connection between the warriors and their beasts. The morning of the hunt was thick with the loud blaring of Cline horns and chanting in rhythmic unison. Harper, dressed in traditional garb supplied by Zor, felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. His crew was seasoned explorers and soldiers, and they shared his feeling. "Remember, Jack," said Lieutenant Carter, Harper's second-in-command, with a grin, just like petting a giant, deadly house cat. Harper chuckled, but replied with a serious tone, "Let's not forget, Carter, these house cats can tear through starship hulls." The hunt had begun in the dense jungles of Cathra Prime. Paired with a death beast named Gorth, Harper moved through the underbrush with quiet agility. The beast was accustomed to his presence now and responded with an intelligence that was as awe-inspiring as it was terrifying. "Steady, Gorth," Harper whispered, patting the creature's armored flank. The beast's many eyes glimmered in acknowledgement as it crouched low, ready to pounce. Their prey, a huge herbivore called a grath, thundered through the jungle, its 6 legs moving its bulk with surprising speed. Harper was signaling to Gorth, and the beast launched forward with lethal grace. The grath bellowed in fear as Gortha's claws sank into its flesh. Harper moved in swiftly, using a Cline spear to deliver the final blow. The grath collapsed, shuddering in its death, froze. Zor, who had been observing from afar, ambled up to them, nodding in approval. "You have done well, Harper. The bond between you and Gorth is strong. You honor our traditions." Harper wiped the sweat from his brow, grinning. "Thank you, Zor. It's been quite the experience." As the hunt finished, the Cline warriors, in high spirits, celebrating their kills, Harper went off momentarily into his reflections. More than serving as a means of survival, the bond he had formed with Gorth spoke volumes of the possibilities of understanding and cooperation between two vastly different species. News of the successful hunt spread across the Galactic Council like wildfire, and footage of Harper and Gorth working in perfect harmony was broadcast across dozens of star systems, further cementing the reputation of humanity as a unique and valuable member within the interstellar community. Back in the galaxy, Harper's feats reached avid audiences. Humanity's status as ambassadors of the galaxy continued to grow. Countless worlds that shared a similar predicament looked to the Human-Animal Cooperation Program as a guiding light. Back in the halls of the Galactic Council, the feats of Captain Jack Harper and his miracles with the ability to pet anything took on a legendary status. For Harper, though, it was business as usual in the eternal quest of understanding and peace with the stars. As Harper's success on Cathra Prime reverberated throughout the galaxy, the Council had another mission in store for him. This time, he would be sent out to the planet Drar, home to the Dian Stone Serpent's creatures so huge and impenetrable they were considered living mountains. The Drans, a mining civilization, had long been in conflict with these giants, with their mining operations constantly disrupted by the Serpent's territorial instincts. With his characteristic aplomb, Harper landed on Drar. The planet's surface was craggy and scarred from the centuries of mining, but beneath the surface, the stone serpents moved like living tectonic plates. The leaders of the Dran greeted Harper with cautious optimism, anxious for him to try if his unique abilities could bridge the gap between their people and the serpents. With a team of Dran miners and some of his trusted crew, Harper set off deep into the caverns that were home to the stone serpents. The air was thick with mineral fumes, the faint rumble of serpents moving beneath. Harper's first encounter with a stone serpent was towering. It emerged from the rock face, its scales glinting like polished obsidian. It reared up, opening its great cavernous mouth, which showed rows of crystalline teeth. But Harper, undeterred, stepped forward. "You are so magnificent," he whispered. His soft voice echoed within the cavern, the sound reverberating against the walls. Slowly, he extended his hand, letting the serpent perceive him in due time. The serpent's deep, antique eyes focused on Harper. For one moment, everything seemed to freeze. It lowered its head then, and Harper reached out to lay a hand against its enormous snout. The creature's purr rumbled the ground, the vibration traveling through the rock into the chests of the Drans. News of Harper's success spread, and soon the Dran miners began showing more respect and understanding towards the stone serpents. What was once an adversarial relationship now turned cooperative. Serpents led miners through to rich veins of minerals in return for protecting nesting grounds. The upshot of all this at the Galactic Council was to hail Harper's achievement as a turning point in interspecies relations. An expansion of the Human-Animal Cooperation Program saw humans being dispatched to resolve conflicts with native fauna on worlds across the galaxy, while Harper's methodology became the template for training new ambassadors in empathy, patience, and mutual respect. One evening, with Harper on his ship and quarters, a message came through from Admiral Garv. "Jack, the Council has one final mission for you, the planet Zalera, home to the telepathic Quicks. Their telepathic beasts have been causing unrest, and they've requested our help. Are you up for it?" Harper smiled as his eyes reflected the many stars outside his window. "Always, Admiral. Let's bring some peace to Zalera." Zalera was unlike any world Harper had been to. Its forests were lush and iridescent, full of the Quick species in touch with it all through some sort of telepathy. And was their beasts, usually docile and serene, which now had grown aggressive under some kind of interference. As Harper arrived, the Quick leaders took to his mind directly with their greetings. "We thank you for coming, Captain Harper. Our beasts have been ill at ease, and we do not know why." Harper, accompanied by a party of Quick guides, pressed deep into the heart of the forest. At first, the sensation of telepathic emotion emanating from the beasts was overwhelming, like a breaking wave against his mind. But Harper closed his eyes and drew calm, projecting a sense of peacefulness. In the next moment, telepathic beasts things of glowing fur, with antlers towered over him. Harper was extending both hands and his mind to the first beast. Images of distress, fear, pain flew through his mind and told him what was wrong with them. A hidden facility beneath the forest emitting some kind of hurtful frequency. "There's a facility underground," he told the Quick leaders. "We need shut it down if you want to bring peace to your beasts." a joint venture that was required between Harper's people and the Quicks revealed an old alien device, long forgotten, now reactivated by seismic activity. Delicate coordination and trust between the humans, Quicks, and their telepathic beasts were required for its shutdown. The deactivation of the device was all it took for the forest to return to its tranquil state. Docile, the telepathic beasts interfered not with the further harmonious continuance of the Quicks' existence. Success on Zalera was, however, the jewel in his crown, touching those most sensitive strings of human empathy and connectedness. As Harper prepared to leave Zalera, the Quick leaders were telepathically conveying their sense of gratitude. You have shared with us a truth about your species, Captain Harper, that your capacity to connect, to understand, and to heal is a gift to be used in the shaping of our galaxy. Smiling, the deep sense of satisfaction was etched on Harper's face. It's been an honor. We do together prove that with understanding and respect, any divide can be bridged. Back on Earth, Harper was received as a hero. His work had defined the most incredible shift in the role of humanity in the galaxy toward peace and cooperation on an unprecedented scale. The Human-Animal Cooperation Program was flourishing now, with new ambassadors to be trained in Harper's methods, ready to bring harmony to worlds in need. His legacy within galactic history would stand as a beacon of empathy and that odd, peculiar capability of humans to reach out and connect with any creature. Captain Jack Harper's story of bravery, understanding, and connection inspired scores of others to seek and cherish the bonds that unite all living things across the stars.